Well, friends, good evening once again to all of you.
Sir, good evening, sir.
Very good evening. So,
Yeah, good evening.
let us start our today's class. In our previous class, we are discussing about share capital, various kinds of shares like preference share, equity shares, etc. We have discussed. We will continue our discussion regarding share capital. I am going to share the screen. Let me go for the screen sharing
Yes.
option. So, what we'll do, we'll very quickly recapitulate what we have learned so far, then we'll proceed. Just wait a minute till I share the screen.
Okay, sir.
I think screen is visible to you now. Are you able to
Yes,
see
sir.
the
Visible,
screen?
sir.
Yes, sir, it's
Yes, sir.
visible.
Okay, friends. Syllabus, we have already gone through the syllabus. This is various types of share capital, voting rights, and the variation of the shareholders. This is what we are going to learn. Right, today we'll be focusing on this variation of shareholders' right. Those aspects we are supposed to cover. Okay, and in the previous class, we have understood and we have covered that broadly there are two kinds of share capital. Broadly, right? Can you recall what are these kinds of share capital? What are these broadly two kinds of share capital?
Sir, equity and preference, sir.
Equity and preference. Okay, and we have also understood that if you see the sections of the provisions of the law, what is preference share? It has been clearly defined, is it not? It has been said this is
Yes, sir.
preference share. And what is equity share?
So, sir, the share which is not preference share.
Yeah, it has been in
Not
an indirect way. It
that is
has been
equity.
in a very indirect way. It has been explained that if it is not a preference share, then it is an equity share. Okay,
Equity.
that concept we have understood, right? And
Yes, sir.
there is also a possibility of variation of right among the shareholders. We'll be seeing that thing. Okay, and this is what I was showing in the last class. Equity share capital means which is not a preference share capital. So therefore, it is important for us to understand what is a preference share capital, right? Okay, what is that? This kind of shareholders has got a preferential right. Preference share, there is a kind of preferential right attached to preference share. Therefore, it is called as the preference shares. Okay, these preferential rights are generally it's of two types. One is as regards to payment of dividend. That means they have got a kind of priority over equity shareholders to receive dividends. And preference shareholders normally receive dividend at a fixed rate or at a fixed amount is received by them. So dividend is fixed and they have got a priority as regards to receipt of dividend. And they got one more preference that is about the preference with respect to repayment in case of winding up of the company. When the company is in the process of winding up and the principals needs to be repaid or the capital needs to be repaid, in that case also preference shareholders has got preference over the equity shareholders. Okay, so broadly, these are the two kinds of preferences which the preference shareholder enjoy. And again, we have seen we can classify broadly again 8 kind of preference shares can be subdivided into 8 categories. Okay, generally 8 categories. 2 more categories are also there which are not that popular. In previous class, we have discussed all these categories of preference share. Okay, if you can recall, it may be cumulative or non-cumulative, redeemable or irredeemable, participating or non-participating, convertible or non-convertible. Similarly, equity share can be of different types, we know, okay, with variation in voting rights. And there are various kinds of equity shares also. All of them are equity shares, but it may be a bonus share, it may be a right share, it might have issued through sweat equity as a sweat equity share, or it might have issued as a ESOP, that is employee stock option scheme. So like these different kinds of equity shares are also there. So first preference share, broadly we have understood cumulative preference share means that dividend can accumulate, right? So they are cumulative when the outstanding payment of dividend is cumulative. That means if in a particular year dividend could not be paid due to non-availability of the profit, it can be accumulated. And in the subsequent years, that dividend, that is the arrears of dividend, can be paid. If that condition is there, then it is called as cumulative preference share. Right? Is it clear to you?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Now, non-cumulative means this condition is not there. That means if for some reason dividend could not be paid, next year this accumulated dividend is not going to accumulate. Next year only the current year dividends will be paid, but the arrears of the dividend will not be paid. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Redeemable, we have understood. Redeemable means after a fixed time or after a fixed period, these shares are going to be redeemed. Okay, after issuing certain notice, share can be redeemed. And we know in India, all shares are redeemable. All preference shares are redeemable. There is no possibility of issuing any irredeemable preference share. But in international capital market, there is a possibility that irredeemable preference shares can be issued. Earlier also in India, long back, irredeemable preference shares were there. But now, no such share exists. Okay, in India, preference shares has to be redeemed maximum within 20 years. And in some exceptional cases like infrastructure company, etc., preference shares can be redeemable up to a period of 30 years. Okay, so normally we'll say within 20 years, all these preference shares needs to be redeemed. Okay, and that too share has to be redeemed. This preference shares has to be redeemed out of profits only. Company should have profit, so that shares can be redeemed. And shares cannot be redeemed unless it is fully paid out. So only when the shares are fully paid out, those shares can be redeemed. Then coming to one more kind of preference share, which I've already discussed in the previous class, that is participating preference share. That means after receiving their own dividend, so they also participate with the dividends of equity shareholders. They got a right to participate with the remaining profits along with equity shareholders. So that is why they call the participating preference shareholders. They also got a right to share the surplus assets of the company at the time of winding up. So after winding up, after their dues are settled, the remaining assets needs to be shared with equity shareholders, and these kind of preference shareholders, that is participating preference shareholders, also participate with equity shareholders. So they are called as participating preference shares. Non-participating means they only take their own shares, they take their own capital back, and they do not participate with surplus profit along with equity shareholders. They are called non-participating preference shares. Convertible, as we have discussed earlier, this is a kind of preference share which can be converted into equity share after expiry of certain time. Okay, initially it might be preference, but subsequently it may be converted into equity shares. Non-convertible, where this convertibility clause is not there in the terms of issue, that means these kind of shares are not supposed to be converted. Right? It will remain as equity, it will remain as preference share till the life of the share. Understood? Non-convertible preference share. Are you getting me?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Now, these are the 8 kinds of preference shares. But I told you there are 2 more possible types which are not that popular, but still we learn that thing. Preference shares with callable option. So this is a kind of new kind of share. That means this kind of shares are issued by the company which can be bought back. That means company can buy back these shares at a predetermined price. Okay, company has got a right, the issuer company has got a right to opt for buying back of these shares. They are called as the preference shares with callable options. Similarly, one more kind of preference share is also there, where, as you know, this is called as adjustable rate preference shares. That the dividend rates are adjustable. Normally, we have understood that as regards to preference shares, the dividends are fixed, but here this dividends are linked to some other kind of thing. It might be linked to interest rate, it might be linked to inflation rate, it might be linked to repo rate, like this. So accordingly, the dividend may vary If that is the kind of preference share, we call it as adjustable rate preference share. So broadly, these are the 10 categories. Now quickly recapitulate various kinds of equity shares which we have discussed in our previous class. One is sweat equity shares that we have understood. These are issued to the directors or employees, normally at a discount for a consideration other than cash. So if directors, employees have made some contribution to the company, contribution in terms of providing know-how, contribution in terms of providing some kind of intellectual property right, or providing some kind of value addition to the company may issue them equity shares at a discount rate, and this kind of equity shares will be called as sweat equity shares. Key point here we have to remember that these are the shares which are issued for a consideration other than cash. Right? Cash is not received here. Other than cash, for some other contribution, this kind of shares are issued. Okay, are you getting me? What is sweat equity shares? This is now a popular method of issuing shares to equities to the employees of the company. Right? Okay.
Right, sir.
Okay.
Okay, sir.
Similarly, one more kind of shares are also issued to the directors, officers, and employees. They are called as ESOPs or employee stock options. So here an option is given to the employees or some directors, where through that option they get a right to purchase the shares, right to subscribe the shares at a concessional rate, at a concessional price, at a predetermined price. They can buy that share. This is an option. If they want, they may exercise this option. If they do not want, they may not exercise this option. But this is again a scheme through which equity shares are issued to the directors, officers, and employees of the company. And this is for cash. They have to pay the money, they have to pay the predetermined price, and equity shares will be issued to them. Right? Bonus share, as you have understood previous class also, these are the shares which are issued free of cost to the existing equity shareholders. To the current equity shareholders, these kind of shares are issued. Okay, no money is collected from them, but generally they are issued at a particular ratio. It depends. Company decides that for how many shares, how many equity shares, how many bonus shares will be issued. For example, let us say if the ratio is 1:3, that means for 3 equity shares held by a particular investor or by a particular shareholder, 1 share can be issued. Okay, so like this, bonus shares are issued. There is one more kind of share. Okay, before that, let us discuss this part also. How these bonus shares are issued? Bonus shares are issued out of profit, which are kept in the form of free reserve. That means if the company is having some reserve, free in the sense there is no specific liability attached to that reserve. This reserve is available free, meaning this is available for the equity shareholders. So out of this free reserve, out of this fund, bonus shares can be issued. Or security premium. If the company has collected some security premium, that means for issuing of shares, debentures, etc., company has collected some premium. Out of that money, which is kept in the security premium account, then bonus shares can be issued. Or out of capital redemption reserve, if company has created a capital redemption reserve account, then out of that fund also bonus shares can be issued. But bonus shares are not to be issued from revaluation reserve. You know what is revaluation reserve? Any idea you have what is revaluation reserve? Any of you?
No, sir. No idea, sir.
Okay. Just briefly, let me explain you what is that. You see, suppose you just imagine the shape of the balance sheet of a company. Okay. Let us say not exactly in the balance sheet format. I am saying you can imagine any company. So what happens in the balance sheet? Normally, one place we write the equities and liability, or we can say one side you write equity and liability, and other place we write our assets. Is it done? Okay. So there is a possibility. Suppose you want to revalue the assets. So let me show you with the help of a whiteboard. Suppose let us see. Is it visible to you? Is it visible,
Yes,
whiteboard? Okay. Now you
Yes, sir.
see,
Yes,
Visible
yes, sir.
discount.
Yes, sir.
I'm not drawing the balance sheet exactly in the form in which companies prepare balance sheet, but for understanding only, I'm showing you. Let us say this is our balance sheet. Normally, this side we write equities and liabilities, and this side you write assets. Is it done? One side we write equity and liabilities, and other
Yes,
side
sir.
we write assets. Okay. And let us say assets are something. Assets are, let us say, plant and machinery, 5 crore. Okay. Let us say land and building, 7 crore. Like these assets are there. Okay. So let us say the total
Yes,
is
sir.
12. And this side liability also total will be 12. Is it not? Equity and liability also total will be 12.
Yes.
Okay. So what is revaluation reserve? If the company feels that, you see, these are actually book values reduced by depreciation. Okay. Let us say land and building. After, let us say, maybe before 20 years, this land and building was purchased. At that time, price was very, very less. Now it is depreciated. Now it is showing 7 crore. But when the real value will be 7 crore, it may be more than that. Is it not?
Yes, sir. More than that.
It may be more than that, because let us say 20 years back you have purchased. Now you have been depreciating that asset, and now it is appearing 7 crore. So if you see the market value, it may not be 7 crore, it might be 17 crore. Okay. If it is 17 crore, what the company can do, if company
Okay,
has got
sir.
a choice, it may revalue the asset. It may say, okay, in my books, I am not going to show it as 7 crore. I will be showing it at the real value, fair value, it is 17 crore. Okay. What they have done, they have revalued that
And
asset.
22.
They have revalued that asset. Is it
Yeah.
not? It become 22. Now, this moment it is becoming 22. This side also it will be 22. Is it not? Then what I will do here, how to adjust that 10 crore extra? I have to create a revaluation reserve here. Revaluation reserve 10.
Okay.
Now only it will be balanced. Okay. Now you see, this kind of reserve is created without any cash transaction. That means through book entry only you created a reserve. Is it not? Is it
Okay,
not?
sir.
Without
Correct.
your cash flow getting
Yes, sir.
affected, without your cash flow getting affected, you have been able to create a reserve like this. Okay. Now, point here is that if you have created a reserve like this,
Okay.
out of this reserve, you are not supposed to issue bonus shares. Bonus shares cannot be issued in this kind of reserve. But whereas if there is some other kind of reserve, you have created some other kind of reserve, okay, which is free, no liability is attached to that, then you can issue bonus shares out of that fund. But from this fund, this kind of fund which is created, you cannot uh, issue bonus shares. Understood what is revaluation reserve?
Yes, sir. We understood, sir.
Okay. But actually, if
Revaluation reserve is the asset. Yeah.
is the value addition in the asset, is the revalue.
Assets revalued.
If you increase your value of the asset, the corresponding figure has to be
Revaluation of
reflected in a
assets.
reserve. That is revaluation.
Correct.
Okay.
Okay.
But I showed you, but normally
Okay.
company balance sheet doesn't look like this. But just for your understanding, I showed you in this
Okay.
format. Company's balance sheet actually it will be looking in a different
Okay.
format. So better you can see the Schedule 3 of the Companies Act. What is the exact format of the balance sheet? Let me make it very clear at this stage. Okay, friends. Now, just a minute. Let me share the screen once again. Okay. Now you got this idea that how bonus shares can be issued, how funds can be made available for bonus shares. Now,
Sir, what the full form of CRL, sir? I just forgot.
capital redemption reserve.
Okay.
Okay, company can create a reserve for capital redemption. Okay. Now, next concept is a right share. Right shares is a kind of share which are issued to the existing equity shareholders, or you can say existing equity shareholders are given an option, are given a right to purchase shares at a concessional price or at a discount price. Owner share is totally free, but right shares involve some money. The shareholders has to pay some money and buy these right shares. Okay, so they can use this right or use that option. They can use that option and they can also renounce. They can sell that right to some other person. They can also buy right shares. This is how normally right shares are allotted. Okay.
Sir, is it profitable? Right issue is profitable for the shareholders, investors.
Yeah, because it is for a shareholders, it is definitely profitable. Profitable in the sense what happens? Suppose shares market value is 600 rupees, but you will be given a right that if you want, you can buy it as 500 rupees. So is it not profitable for you? Because 600 रुपए का शेयर आपको 500 रुपए में मिल रहा है.
But it may be company can adjust its capital further.
Company can. The advantage now you might be thinking why the company is issuing shares like this instead of making public issue. Why the company is issuing a share which is worth 500 rupees for worth 600 rupees for 500 rupees? Why company is issuing a discount? There might be many reasons for that why the company is doing, but one reason you can say, if a company doesn't give it to existing shareholders, company make a public issue, now new investors will be coming, so control may be diluted, but company wants to keep the control only with existing shareholders, so it will give an option to the existing shareholders, then you existing shareholders please buy, we don't want to issue the shares to outsiders. Okay, that might be one of the reasons for which rights shares are issued or rights are allotted to the equity shareholders, existing equity shareholders, and they can buy rights. Okay, it is both the way. It is beneficial for the company. It is also beneficial for the investor. Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah. So this is what broadly equity shares concept we have understood. Equity share capital means, first of all, which is not a preference share capital. And in case you are receiving equity shares, you will be getting a certificate of equity share certificate you will receive, which is the proof of ownership of the company. That shows that equity shareholders is the ownership of the company. And equity shareholders enjoy voting rights. That concept we are going to study now. What kind of rights they enjoy. Now coming to the new concept that the rights and variation of the rights, how variations in the rights of equity shareholders are possible. We will be discussing about this. First, we will be saying what are these voting rights of a member holding equity shares, and what in which situation preference shareholders also having a kind of voting rights, and in what proportion these rights are going to be. These are the three concepts we are going to study now. And the related sections are section 47 and 48 of Companies Act 2013, which we are going to learn, and some related sections also we are going to, some more sections also we'll be learning. Okay, now coming to section 47, what is this voting rights? It says subject to provisions of section 43 and subsection 2 of section 15. So it says, in fact, every member of the company limited by shares and holding equity shares therein shall have a right to vote on every resolution placed before the company. Okay, that means it says everybody who is the equity shareholder of the company has got a right to vote on every resolution. So equity shareholder can vote on every resolution passed by the company. Okay, is it clear? And here every resolution means we are talking about the general meeting resolution. Okay, and here we have studied the general meeting. Okay, AGM, EGM, and the board meeting. We are not talking about the board resolutions passed board meeting. We are talking about the resolution passed in general meeting. And every equity shareholder has got a right to vote in that resolution. And how this voting right will be exercised? It will be exercised in proportion to his share in the paid of equity share capital. For example, suppose one person is holding 10% of equity share, and total number of, let us say, shares are 100. So he can give 10% of that. That means he is having 10 votes. So in the proportion of his share, he can participate in the vote. Okay, understood? If someone is holding 50%, then 50% vote he can give. Okay? Right? Are you getting me? Okay. Now, please let us see the next part. That what is the voting right of preference shareholders? Here, every member of the company holding any preference share capital. Preference share capital holders also can vote in certain situations. What is that situation? We are going to learn it now. So every member who is holding preference share capital shall have a right to vote only on these limited issues or limited businesses he can vote. Only on the resolution placed before the company which directly affect the rights attached to the preference shares. So if some business is conducted or some resolution is passed which is directly affecting to whom? To the preference shareholders. Then the preference shareholders can vote. So if it is directly affecting their interest, they can vote. Or on any resolution for winding up of the company or for repayment or reduction in equity or preference share capital. So in these issues also preference shareholders can vote. So they can first of all vote in a situation where their interests are affected. Secondly, in case of company is getting wound up in the event of winding up of the company or for repayment or reduction of equity shares or for repayment or reduction of preference share. In those cases, in those instances only preference shareholders can vote. In other matters, they are not supposed to. And they will be also voting in the proportion of their shares. In the proportion of their shareholding, they will be exercising that vote. Is it clear to you? In which situation preference shareholder can also vote? First of all, if it is affecting their interest. Second, if company is in the process of winding up and related to that winding up decision, they can also vote. And if it is related to repayment or reduction of equity share capital or repayment or reduction of preference share capital, then only preference shareholder can cast his vote. Okay, and the voting rights will be again in proportion to the money they have invested, the same proportion as the paid of capital, in respect of equity shares, peer to the paid of capital in respect of preference share. So in the proportion of their investment, they can give their vote. Then one more situation is there when preference shareholders can also vote almost in every circumstances. That situation is like this, where the dividend in respect of preference shares has not been paid for 2 years or more. That means for some reason, if the company has not paid dividends to the preference shares for 2 years, consecutively for 2 years, or for a larger period, for a longer period, then such class of preference shareholders shall have right to vote on all the resolution placed before the company. Right? So by default, we have seen in certain situations, preference shareholders has got a right to vote, like if it affects their interest, if it is an event of winding off, or it is a case of reduction of share capital, those cases. But if for some reason preference dividends has not been paid for 2 years or longer period, then they can vote on all resolutions. Okay, are you getting me? Have you understood? Are you getting me?
Yes sir.
Oh,
सर ये वोट देने के लिए प्रेफरेंस शेयर होल्डर को वोट देने के लिए रेजोल्यूशन चाहिए कंपनी का.
could you please repeat the question? It is echoing. Please repeat your question.
या मैं बोल रहा था ये प्रेफरेंस शेयर होल्डर जो होंगे उनको वोट देने के लिए रेजोल्यूशन चाहिए कंपनी में.
Resolution means if a decision is taken in the meeting, that is called resolution. And whenever a resolution is passed, so voting is necessary. Okay, suppose in the, let us say you say in a annual general meeting, a resolution is passed to appoint an auditor. Then
Yes,
resolution will be passed, everybody will vote. Okay, Who will vote? Only equity shareholders will vote. But in case company has not paid preference dividend to preference shareholders for 2 years, then preference shareholders also will vote for that resolution.
Okay.
Are you getting? So resolution
Yes,
means you can say a proposal, which is discussed in the meeting. Okay. Now coming to voting
Yes,
rights. Voting rights are different. For equity shareholders can participate in every resolution. Normal, they got their voting right in the proportion of their investment, but there is a possibility of differential voting rights also. In some cases, voting rights can be different. Normal is in proportion to the paid up capital. How the differential voting right is possible? It is possible as it is defined in the articles of the company or in terms of issue. If the terms of issue of the company specifies, then differential voting rights are possible. Preference shareholders can vote in the proportion of their share capital if dividend is not paid for 2 years, or in the event of winding up, or in the situation which directly affect the interest of the preference shareholders. In these situations, preference shareholders can. Okay. Now coming to variation of the shareholders' right, there is a possibility that the company can have different class of shares. Some company call it that class A shares, class B shares, like this. Company can have different class of shares with variations in their voting rights. Okay, it may be necessary for a company to amend the rights attached to the shareholders, attached to the shares. Okay, in that situation, there is a possibility that different kind of shareholders can have different kind of rights. How these variations are possible, we'll be seeing in which situation this variability is possible. These kind of rights can be varied with consent in writing of the holders. So just like that, company cannot vary the rights of the shareholders. What is required? Written consent is required. Okay, rights can be varied with consent in writing of the holders of not less than 3/4 of the issued shares. So we'll see how much of shares are issued. Out of that, at least 3/4 of the people should agree in writing for variation in the rights. For variation in their rights. Okay, in writing they must agree. Or what can happen? By means of special resolution passed at a separate meeting, the shareholders may also agree for variation of their right. That means if the company wants there to be variation in the rights, shareholders must agree. How many shareholders? At least 3/4 of the issued share capital. They should agree, and they should agree in writing, not verbally. Or there is one more way, through special resolution. These shareholders may also agree for variation in the rights of the shareholders. Are you getting?
yes, sir.
Okay. But here we have to see one more requirement is that the memorandum or articles of association should carry a provision regarding this kind of variation. There should be a provision in the memorandum of association or articles of association that this kind of variation is possible. Or if that variation is not, that provision is not there in MOA or AOA, then what will happen? We have to see that such kind of variation is not prohibited by the terms of issue of shares of that class. When these shares are issued to those investors, those class of investors, so there should not be any prohibition for variation of rights of shareholders. If that prohibition is not there, then also we can bring a variation in the rights of the shareholders, even if memorandum or article doesn't carry any provision like this. So to summarize, we have to conclude it. This concept we have to understand it like this. Variation in the rights of the shareholders are possible. But for that thing, what is required? Written consent of not less than 3/4 of the shareholders. Or through special resolution, shareholders must agree. And such provisions should be contained in the memorandum or articles. If memorandum or article doesn't contain any kind of provision, then the terms of issue of the shares should not carry a prohibition as regards to this kind of variation. If these conditions are met, then only it is possible to bring a kind of variation in the shareholders' right. Okay. And here one more concept also you have to understand. If we are varying means you can say, okay, this class of shares will give 1 share, 1 vote. And for class A shares, they can cast 1 share, 1 vote. And class B shares, they can cast 2 votes for 1 share. That is possible. That is a variation. But how it is possible? Through that thing. We have to see memorandum should allow, there should not be any prohibition. Or at least 3/4 of the shareholders should agree, or through special resolution, approval should be obtained. Right. But here one more thing you have to see, if you are bringing a kind of variation in the shareholders' right, and by any chance it is affecting some other class of shareholders, that means we are bringing a variation in the rights of one particular class of shareholders, but it is affecting the rights of other shareholders, then the consent of 3/4 of such other class of shareholders has also to be taken. Okay, the consent of 3/4 of such other class of shareholders are also be obtained. To explain this, let me say with the help of an example. Suppose I am bringing a variation in the rights of class A shares, and because of that, class B shareholders are also getting affected. Then I must obtain the consent of at least 3/4 of class B shareholders. Are you getting? If I am bringing variation, I have to take care of all these things. Okay?
Yes, sir.
Now, first of all, that is the consent. If there is no consent, if that means shareholders are not giving consent, then what will happen? That means some shareholders are not agreeing. Then what is the process? Okay, it's not necessary. Let us say what is happening. Let us say 3/4 shareholders, or let us say 3/4 of the shareholders agreed for variation, but other shareholders didn't agree, but resolution is passed. In that case, the descending shareholders, what they can do, what is the option available with them? The option available with them is that they can go to tribunal. Okay. They can file a suit with Company Law Tribunal. We'll be seeing that concept in our next class, that what is the option available to the other shareholders. Okay. Is it clear to you?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So with this, we'll be ending our today's class. We'll again catch up, maybe probably tomorrow again.